Size of this machine, if I had to haul this thing 100 miles every time something went wrong with it, it'd cost a fortune. I mean, just to get it on a truck is $1,000, and by the time you get it hauled somewhere and get it hauled back, you're $2,000 into fixing something maybe relatively minor.
New this morning, Arkansas farmers this year are facing the worst agriculture economy the country has seen in decades.
It's so bad that experts say that as many as 1/3 of the state's farms could file for bankruptcy or close altogether if conditions don't improve.
March 2025. Iowa Governor Kim Reynolds holds an emergency meeting with John Deere executives. The topic? Equipment prices are destroying Iowa farms. A new John Deere 9RX tractor costs $748,000. That's up from $512,000 in 2020, a 46% price increase in 5 years, but corn prices up only 8% in the same period. Soybeans up 12%. The math doesn't work. Farmers can't afford equipment that's increasing 46% when crop prices increase 8%. And it's not just tractors, combines, planters, harvesters. Every piece of John Deere equipment has seen similar price explosions. The average Iowa farm now needs $2.1 million in equipment to operate efficiently. Most farms generate $400,000 to $600,000 in annual revenue. Equipment costs are exceeding 5 years of farm income. That's unsustainable. But price isn't the only problem. Right to repair. John Deere equipment is locked down with proprietary software. Farmers can't fix their own tractors, can't diagnose problems, can't order parts. Everything requires authorized John Deere technicians. In rural Iowa, the nearest authorized dealer is sometimes 60 miles away. When a tractor breaks during planting season, every hour waiting for a technician costs money. Crops have optimal planting windows. Miss the window, yields drop. One Iowa farmer calculated that waiting 3 days for a John Deere technician during planting cost him $47,000 in reduced yield because he couldn't fix a software error himself. The tractor worked mechanically. The software locked him out. Governor Reynolds is facing a crisis. Iowa has 86,000 farms. 40% are financially stressed. They can't afford new equipment, can't afford to wait for repairs, can't afford the subscription fees John Deere now charges for software features. And they can't switch to competitors because they've invested hundreds of thousands in John Deere equipment that's incompatible with other brands. They're locked in, trapped. And John Deere keeps raising prices because they know farmers have no alternatives. This is the story of how corporate monopoly is destroying American agriculture, and nobody knows how to stop it. The price explosion that started everything. Let's start with the numbers. In 2015, a John Deere 8R series tractor, the workhorse for large Iowa farms, cost $287,000 new. That was expensive but manageable. Farms could finance that over 7 to 10 years. The monthly payment was around $3,500. Most farms could handle that. By 2020, the same tractor series cost $389,000. Still manageable if you financed longer or bought used. By 2025, $547,000, nearly double the 2015 price. But farm income didn't double. Corn prices in 2015 averaged $3.89 per bushel. In 2025, $4.21 per bushel. That's 8.2% growth. Equipment prices grew 90%. The disconnect is staggering. Tom Bradley owns a 1,200-acre corn and soybean farm outside Des Moines. He's been farming for 34 years. His father farmed the same land for 40 years before that. 3 generations on the same property. He needs to replace his primary tractor. It's from 2012, has 8,900 hours. Still mechanically sound, but starting to require expensive repairs. He goes to the local John Deere dealer, looks at new 8R models. The dealer quotes $547,000. Tom does the math. His farm generates about $520,000 gross revenue in a good year. After seed, fertilizer, fuel, insurance, property tax, and living expenses, he nets maybe $140,000. To buy that tractor, he'd need to save 4 years of net income, or finance it at $6,700 per month for 10 years. That's half his net income gone to one tractor payment. It's impossible. He asks about used equipment. A 2020 model with 3,400 hours is $389,000. Still way too expensive. He looks at financing options. John Deere. Financial offers 5.9% interest. On $389,000 over 10 years, that's $4,300 monthly. Better than new, but still unaffordable. He'd have $140,000 annual income, minus $51,600 in tractor payments. That leaves $88,400 for everything else. Seed costs $48,000. Fertilizer $62,000. Fuel $28,000. That's $138,000 right there, before insurance, maintenance, property tax, or feeding his family. The numbers don't work. He can't afford any John Deere tractor, new or used, and his 2012 tractor won't last forever. Tom's situation isn't unique. Across Iowa, farmers are facing identical calculations. Equipment is too expensive. Income hasn't kept pace. The gap is widening every year. And John Deere shows no signs of slowing price increases. They're a publicly traded company. Investors demand growth. Growth comes from raising prices. Farmers are squeezed. The right to repair nightmare. But price is just part of the problem. The repair issue is equally devastating. Modern John Deere equipment is computer controlled. Engine management, transmission, hydraulics, emissions. Everything runs through proprietary software. And that software is locked. Farmers can't access it, can't modify it, can't diagnose problems. Only authorized John Deere technicians with official diagnostic tools can interface with the systems. Sarah Martinez farms 840 acres in northwest Iowa. She's got a 2019 John Deere 6M series tractor, cost $198,000. Last spring, during planting, an error code appeared. Engine derate, service required. The tractor limited power to 40%. She couldn't pull her planter at normal speed. She's 60 miles from the nearest authorized dealer. She calls. They can't send a technician for 2 days. She's in the middle of planting. Weather window is narrow. If she doesn't finish planting in the next 4 days, she'll miss optimal planting dates. Late planting reduces yields 1 to 2% per day. Those 2 days waiting for a technician could cost her $15,000 to $20,000 in lost yield. She's mechanically skilled. Her father taught her diesel mechanics. She can rebuild engines, but she can't access the diagnostic software to see what's causing the error. The tractor might need a simple fix, a sensor replacement, but without diagnostics she can't know. She's forced to wait. The technician arrives 2 days later, plugs in the diagnostic computer. The problem? A faulty DEF, diesel exhaust fluid, quality sensor. The DEF was fine. The sensor was giving false readings. The technician replaces the $140 sensor, charges $280 for the part, dealer markup, plus $450 service call fee, plus $220 for diagnostic time. Total bill, $950. For a $140 sensor, Sarah could have replaced herself in 20 minutes if she had access to the diagnostic software. But the real cost was the 2 days. She finished planting 3 days late. Yield that year was 7% below her 5-year average. On 840 acres of corn at 180 bushels per acre, that's 10,584 fewer bushels. At $4.20 per bushel, she lost $44,453 in revenue because a $140 sensor failed, and she couldn't fix it herself. The tractor worked mechanically. The software locked her out. That's not farming equipment. That's a hostage situation. The subscription trap that's getting worse. But John Deere found another way to extract money. Subscriptions. Features that used to be included now require annual fees. Precision agriculture features, GPS guidance, automatic steering, variable rate application. These are essential for modern farming. They improve efficiency, reduce waste, increase yields. John Deere used to include them in the equipment purchase. Now they're subscriptions. $3,500 per year for auto-track guidance, $2,800 per year for section control, $1,900 per year for documentation features. Stack them up and you're paying $8,000 to $10,000 annually for software features. Forever. You bought the hardware. But John Deere owns the software. April 2025. The situation continues to deteriorate. John Deere announces 2026 model year pricing. The 8R series is now $587,000. That's another 7.3% increase. Subscriptions increase too. Auto track guidance up to $3,850 per year, 10% increase. Farm income projections for 2025, corn averaging $4.15 per bushel, down from $4.21. Soybeans at $11.80, down from $12.10. Farm income is declining while equipment costs increase. The gap widens. More farmers will go bankrupt. More will sell their farms. The consolidation will accelerate. Large corporate farms can afford John Deere equipment. They operate 10,000 to 50,000 acres. They have scale. They can amortize $2.1 million in equipment over massive acreage. Small and medium family farms can't. They're being eliminated, not by competition, by equipment costs. In 10 years, Iowa might have half as many farms. The survivors will be large corporate operations. The small family farms that made Iowa agriculture will be gone because John Deere priced them out of existence. Governor Reynolds is considering executive action. Using state procurement power, Iowa state institutions buy John Deere equipment, universities, transportation departments, parks. It's about $47 million annually. If this opened your eyes to what's happening in American agriculture, share it. Because John Deere isn't advertising that their prices increased 46% while farm income grew 8%. They're not mentioning farmers going bankrupt because they can't afford equipment. They're not talking about the repair monopoly destroying family farms. That information comes from farmers testifying in legislatures, from bankruptcy data, from equipment price lists compared to commodity prices. The story of corporate monopoly destroying American agriculture is real. It's happening now. And it's accelerating. That's what you need to understand. That's why Governor Reynolds is panicking, because Iowa's agricultural economy is being hollowed out by equipment costs farmers can't afford and monopoly practices they can't escape.